you touched on it briefly about the pensions, but pensions of 80, 100, 115% of the highest paid don't exist in nature. They only exist in government. Will you consider a tiered employment system or even a breakaway from CALPERS to just pay them up front in their pay packet and give them a 401k like the rest of us mere mortals?
You know, everything is up for negotiation. The fact is that the city has to be in very dire financial straits in order just to go back in and ask people that were hired and basically operate and work under a certain agreement to reconsider that. I think that we did in the past, in the last couple of years, I have sat down and had a lot of discussions with our bargaining units to forgo raises, to basically hold off, to accept furloughs, to accept cuts in pay. You know, but it gets to a point where we have to understand, and I agree with Mr. O'Neill, perhaps maybe CalPERS is something that we need to look at, maybe doing something different. I don't know what's out there. I don't think we would have our own pension system. We're certainly not that big, and we've seen what's happened in other local governments that have tried to go it alone. It hasn't worked out exactly well for them. But the fact is that I think we need to do everything we can to keep the city afloat. But we also need to make sure that the people that we have working, serving our citizens, our constituents, are of the caliber and of the quality that basically they do the job for the people in the neighborhoods. I want Chula Vista to be a good place for people to work. I think people should be fairly, I think they should be compensated when they serve the better part of their life, the people of Chula Vista. But I don't think this is a situation where we can just blindly say anything goes and at the expense of bankrupting the city. Quite frankly, I'm willing to sit down with employee groups if that's it, but we have to lay all the cards on the table.
You know, the law has been changed since the last couple of years. We had an employee who retired here several years ago, earning 104% of her current salary when she retired. That should logically mean that the person who came in to replace her should be earning a 96% salary. Well, nobody's going to come in and work a full-time job and accept a 96% salary. So what do? You go back to the table and you try to figure out how can you best compensate your employees, keep up with the promises that you've made to them, and attract and retain the highest caliber employee that you can, recognizing that those people who are not part of the government sector typically don't get a retirement that's as rich as some government pensions are. Now, to look at the Tier 2, that means that you would treat the employee who comes in after a certain time differently than the employee that currently works here. So, for example, if you instituted a Tier 2 program beginning July 1, the employee who comes in at July 1 may get a different retirement package. Maybe they have to contribute to their employment pension. School teachers get a 16% of their salary pension, 8% contributed by the employer, 8% contributed by the teacher. It doesn't work that way in Chula Vista because of decisions made several years ago. But as I said earlier, the pension system is, under CalPERS, is not broken. CalPERS has had some high rates of return. I don't want to see us go down the road of San Diego. They've got lots of pension difficulties. But we certainly need to sit down with our employees and try to work out a better resolution on pensions.
No question, this problem has to be dealt with. It's a reality we have to face. But, you know, I can't help but thinking, just because there have been bad decisions made by previous and this administration, that we just need to write these folks off. I think people, if you take the time to communicate with them and explain the situation that we're in, and believe me, they know the situation that we're in, that people will be amicable to coming to the table and talking about doing what's real and working with the city to mediate this problem. The MOAs are coming due. I think one is this year, 2010, and a couple more in the near future, in a couple of years. Those are the times where you go back to the table and negotiate from the perspective of a reality. And so that would be what I would do as a mayor. I would bring everybody back to the table. The threats of doing radical things like going to Tier 2 and other types of, going into other different types of retirements are always there. People who work for the city understand that they're there. I think that they also want to continue working for the city. It's a great place to work. And so I believe that going back to the table, communicating the realities, the time is prime for that, because everybody knows the situation that Chula Vista is in.